Good morning, everyone, and welcome to How Foundations Love Your Brain, Brain Health Month. We have with us Lisa Speidel, who is the mother of Josh Speidel, who is a championship high school basketball player. So, Lisa, tell us about, I know you're a special education teacher in Indiana, an acclaimed teacher. And tell us about your son, Josh, and his love for basketball and his career as a student athlete.
Sure. Yeah. We are from Columbus, Indiana, and Josh went to Columbus North High School. He is, I think, every little boy in Indiana that plays basketball dreams of becoming an Indiana All-Star and breaking records. And that was Josh's path, and that was his drive. He is, oh my goodness, he's Columbus North's all-time leading scorer, all-time leading rebounder. And yeah, he received 13 college Division I college scholarship offers, settled on the University of Vermont his senior year to go to Vermont to play. He was a junior all-star and he was a senior all-star also. So sports is just our life. And so he also played baseball and did soccer for a little bit, but basketball was his love.
Well, so fun and exciting for him and the whole family, too, right?
Absolutely. We don't know anything else, or we didn't know anything else besides sports.
It's great. And tell us about what happened to him in his senior year in high school that really changed all of your lives in a number of ways. And please talk about how it affected you and your husband and his siblings, your emotions, your time management, your family, etc.
Sure. So Josh was in the middle of his senior year. We were actually nearing the end of his senior year. On January 31st, he scored like 33 points. He had like 18 rebounds. He had a great game on that Saturday, the 31st, 2015. And the next day, Super Bowl Sunday, February 1st. 2015 Super Bowl Sunday, and Josh said, "Hey, I'm going to the gym to get up shots." And he had keys to the gym, and so it was nothing unusual for us. It's like, okay, took his basketball shoes and out the door he went. I think the Super Bowl was just kind of getting really, kicking off, and so off he went. And a couple of hours later, our phone rang, and it was like an unknown number. I'm like, who in the world's calling on Super Bowl Sunday while
Right.
we are, we're watching the game? Didn't answer the phone. Then a couple of minutes later, it rang again with Columbus Regional Hospital name popping up, and
Scary.
received the phone call that every parent hopes that they never ever hear. And we received that. Lisa and Dave, you need to get to Columbus Regional Hospital as soon as possible. Josh was in an accident, and we're not sure that he's going to make it.
Mm. And what did the doctor say to you when you arrived about his condition?
When we arrived at Columbus Regional, they were just trying to get him stabilized. Columbus Regional is not a level 1 trauma center. So they were in the process of trying to get him prepared and get the ambulance prepared to transfer him to Indianapolis to Methodist. And because of the weather, they couldn't fly the helicopter. It was cold, and so they couldn't fly the helicopter. So they prepared the ambulance, and all that they could tell us is that that there was definitely a brain injury. And if it would be a miracle if he lived on the drive to Indianapolis. So and what happened, Josh had pulled out in front of a vehicle and in front of an SUV. The SUV was going 55 miles an hour, and Josh's driver's side door took the impact. of that. And he spun counterclockwise across 5 lanes of traffic. And fortunately, by God's grace, there were no other vehicles around. It's a very busy highway. And so, again, he didn't have, there wasn't a secondary hit on his vehicle, thank goodness.
And he was actually in a coma, right? For a month, did you
He
say?
did. He did. He was actually, it was a little bit longer than that. Yes. So he was transferred to Methodist. He made it. He lived. He survived that drive. Dave and I followed him, and I remember we both praying. God, just give us every emotion that we need, so that when we walk in that hospital, we are ready for whatever the doctors have to say to us. And we could see them working on Josh ahead of us, never knowing if when we arrived, we could see movement and not knowing, okay, is he even alive? And so that was a long 50-minute drive for sure. Following that
Right.
ambulance.
And it
So
must have been a long period of time too, when he was in the coma the whole time,
it
right?
was. So
About the future.
we received that Josh had received a severe diffuse axonal injury. And yes, so he was in a coma for several weeks. He stayed at Methodist for 16 days, and then he was transferred to a long-term acute care facility. And then from there, he went to the rehab facility. He was away from home for 117 days. He was in a medical
Wow.
facility for 117 days.
Wow. And what was his prognosis?
The
The
prognosis
doctor
was
say?
not good. The doctors told us that 90% of the people that receive the injury that Josh had, he had global injury with the exception of his brainstem. But that 90% of the people will not live. They won't survive it. The other almost 10% will live in a vegetative state for
Wow.
a short amount of time, for forever how long. And we were told that we would have to put Josh would have to go into, a nursing facility, because we wouldn't be able to take care of him. And it was at that point that I said, you know what, I appreciate what you're saying. I hear you, and I know you're doing your job, but please don't ever say that to me again. He's not going to need to live there, and he's going to come home with us. So, yeah.
Good for
And
you.
117 days later, he came home with us. So, yep.
That is quite a story. It
It
really is.
is. If we had a long time, the
No,
miracle,
I know.
it's amazing.
I
Yes.
know. So next, because we just have about 10 minutes, how did you learn about medical grade HBOT? Because I know that played a great role in his recovery, you told me. Did the doctors at the hospital tell you about it, or how did you
No.
learn?
No, we did not. The doctors didn't give us a whole lot of direction about what was even possible for Joshua. But in the middle of the night, because I wasn't sleeping, and doing my research, trying to find out, okay, what can we do? Okay, what can we do? There has to be something that we can do. And I stumbled upon an article that had been written about HBOT being used in New Orleans or Louisiana. And I'm like, okay, is that anywhere around here? Where can we find? Through another friend, again, I think it was a God thing that connected us. She was doing HBOT up in Carmel, which is just outside of Indianapolis. And she said, Lisa, I think this is what Josh needs. I think he needs to try this. And so, all right, off we went. And when Josh started the process, his dad had to help him get down and get into the machine. And by the time we were finished with all of our sessions, he was very actively getting in there by himself, moving, walking, all the great things. So, yeah.
That is so exciting. And is that where you met Brigadier General Jim Bowerly?
Yeah, so Jim reached out to us. He had heard about Josh through the owner of the clinic that we were going to. And yeah, so then Jim called and said, "Hey, look, I understand you guys have had some success with this, and this is what I do and what I want to do." And I'm like, absolutely. How can we support? How can we support and get the word out there that we need HBOT more readily available for everyone that has brain injuries? And then when, for our veterans, absolutely. Why are we not doing this? If we know that it helps people, why are we not doing it more?
Right. So Jim was there having his veterans treated at the same facility.
I'm not sure if Jim was.
Oh,
I'm not sure if that's what he was doing, but he was beginning his research project and going to the state of Indiana to request funding for the veterans.
gotcha. Okay.
So for us, Josh had a lot of media coverage throughout the state of Indiana and the whole United States. And so his story was pretty well known. So for us to be able to use the negative that happened to Josh and hopefully turn it to good for other people, that's what we're supposed to do.
Right. So so did Josh get to go to college after his treatment, and how did it go?
He did. He was able to, the University of Vermont was wonderful. They called, the head coach called and said, "Let's get Josh up here and see what we can do to help him." And so for a year, he deferred his scholarship. And yeah, 1 year later, after this severe traumatic brain injury, he went to Vermont. And
Amazing.
yes, and so he graduated in 4 years. His GPA was a 3.74, I think.
Wow.
I mean, he did wonderful. He had he had the resources. He learned how to use his resources. And his goal was always to step on the basketball court and play in college, play Division I basketball. And finally, on his senior year, his senior night, he was able to do that. So we actually just passed the 4-year anniversary of his senior night.
Oh,
And so we've been
exciting.
reliving through that, and that's just very, very exciting.
That is so great. And how is Josh doing now besides celebrating that
Yeah.
wonderful
You know
achievement?
what? He is doing amazing. He's living on his own. He's driving. He did a return to driving program. And he is actually now a special education teacher.
It's
And
great.
it's just awesome to see him working with those students and for him to be able to use what he's gone through and what he's living with and helping kids be able to reach their full potential. It's just awesome to hear him encouraging them. He's getting married in August. Uh,
Exciting.
yes.
Great.
And so we are so excited.
Congratulations.
She is exactly who we prayed for. And so yeah, so August 17th, he is marrying his lovely fiance, Madison, and we're super excited about that.
That's so
So it
exciting. So
is.
happy for you all. That is great. And is he still, is he coaching basketball as well?
Yeah, he is.
Kids?
He just finished coaching 7th grade. He was coaching in Columbus.
Wow.
And he had a great team this year. They did a great job. But yeah, that's really where he's a wired
Cool.
coach. He's a wired teacher.
Wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to add to help parents and student athletes who might get a concussion? Do you have a couple words about that before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think what I'd like to say to parents is, number one, you are the professional when it comes to your child. You are the expert. You know what your child needs. You see what they are dealing with, and ask for help. It is completely okay to ask for it. Please ask for help. Reach out if there's something that you don't know about your child's injury, is you have to ask. You have to ask and to advocate and surround yourself with people. I didn't know anything about brain injury
Mm,
until February 1st, and I'm still learning. still learning about brain injury and how to help parents navigate and what to ask for, especially I'm an elementary principal now, and I know, I love to be able to help families navigate through that process when it comes to schools.
Mm, that's wonderful. I know we'll connect more with you in the future too about the
Yes.
student athletes. Kids. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
Yep.
you, Lisa. And
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you.